My name is Veerubhotla, and I want to talk to you all about how a designer can have impact on AI at your business. I've structured our chat into three parts. First, I want to touch a little bit about why it's important for designers to influence AI. And then I want to talk about how we as designers can cultivate a perspective to shape that AI. And finally, I want to bring some ways of tangible impact from designers. So let's get started. Why should designers influence AI? This isn't a new revelation. With so much happening around us every day with emerging technology, we implicitly know that we should do something about it, right? Design has a big role to play. Where do we get started? How do we know what to pay attention to? How to cultivate a perspective? I say begin by crafting end-to-end solutions. In AI-driven initiatives at businesses, there's a lot of emphasis on building AI models. But we must remember that those models will get used in some surrounding context of a solution that is intended to solve a business problem. We have to bring focus to that surrounding context. Let's see. Have you been in conversations where people have been talking about building AI, either to build a competitive edge in the market or to generate revenue, whatever it is? Well, that's a fair business driver, nothing wrong with it. But it's not the user problem. We have to help uncover the user problem by peeling layers off of the business drivers. What problem are we going to solve that's special, that no other business has solved? What is the value proposition we want to bring? We designers can help get to this by driving conversations around why. Why do we want to do this? To speed up a business process so that users can get access faster, to make more accurate decisions so that the users can feel more confident in their decisions, to guide users through a process. What are we looking for, right? And then once we figured out the user problem to be solved, then we think of the end-to-end solution around it. Like I said, AI models require that surrounding shell to deliver their value. It's never about building singular touch points with AI. It's always about building an experience. So we have to understand what this journey in this experience looks like for our users. Where are they coming from? What are they doing? What will they do next? And within that journey, we have to identify where AI value fits. Where do you need AI models? What specific part should they facilitate? And then once you've outlined that purpose and the experience and what role you want your AI models to play in that journey, that's when you get to the details of the model behavior, specifically within the scope that you laid out. You have to collaboratively define this model behavior with your developers, your data scientists, your product owners, and anybody else who's a part of building these models. It's important to lay out the detailed plan for how this part of AI will function so that it fits into the broader view that you were envisioning. So having done this over the years, here are some key points that I took away from my experience. First, we must explicitly define user value. Users will perceive value through whatever they consider to be their success in that journey. For example, imagine an AI project that is supposed to provide better customer support. How do you define success there? How do your users define success there? Is it by the time that it takes to fully resolve the problem? Or is it by the time it takes to give them your first response? They're both valid definitions of success, but which one is applicable to your situation? Or if you take another example, say if a user is asking a question, they want an answer. Are they expecting a synthesized answer? Or do they want a comprehensive list of data points so that they can form a well-informed answer? What is their notion of success? What is value? You must derive your value from that definition of success that your users will have. Because your solution and your AI models will have to behave in accordance with that value proposition. That's why it's important to dig into this value. Next, I find it very valuable personally to rephrase the value proposition of AI models by breaking it down into smaller, simpler words. For example, instead of saying automation, if I say it's about replicating an existing, well-defined manual process, I'm now able to realize the dependencies that this model might have, right? On an existing process that can be defined in a series of steps, on a process that mimics how it's done by humans today, right? So you see, it depends on an existing process, a manual process, a series of steps. If there is a process that cannot be defined in those series of steps, it's not well suited for this. Similarly, if we were talking about a predictive model, if I think about it as a way to model potential scenarios based on historical data, I immediately latch on to that notion of historical data. I know exactly where the dependency is for this model and what potential biases it could bring to table. So I know how to prep for it, how to work around some of those biases. I can plan for that. The third takeaway is that there's a trade-off in AI. It's about the effort and value. Sometimes you might even get a small similar gain towards a problem without even using AI. For example, say if your team was mulling an AI model that's supposed to help infer the topic of a user's discussion or inquiry. To build that kind of an AI model, you need to put in effort. High quality AI models need effort. But is that effort justified? Is it going to provide justifiable value in that situation? You have to ask yourselves that, right? Can you get that intent of the user's inquiry by just asking them to choose from a defined list of topics? Or perhaps you just ask them to tell you exactly what their topic of interest is. Those are all valid workarounds. You don't need AI for any of that. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes AI is necessary for something like this. But you have to make sure that you're amply clear on whether AI is necessary for you in this situation, or if you can go tackle this by just simply tweaking your workflow a little bit, right? This balance will guide you towards picking the right problems to tackle with AI. Okay, so we looked at crafting end-to-end solutions. The next area I think is worth keeping in mind is the balance of user expectations, model needs, and AI technology constraints. The last area of design influence I want to bring forward is the strategic impact. As AI evolves, and as we evolve with it, it is important for us designers to weigh in on how these changes should affect long-term visions. For example, we know that AI models need a lot of data. How might we reduce the load of that training on humans? Or, for example, we know that the ability to build AI models is no longer centralized with AI experts. How might we facilitate non-experts of AI to still make the right decisions about their models? Or we know that high-value problems have complex needs that need interpretation, that need synthesis by humans. How might we grow AI technology to tackle such complex needs? You see, all these problems are coming at this technology from a user's perspective. That's important. That's what design brings to the table. While mulling such long-term questions, also, a few points to keep in mind. We have to learn to identify the right trends to care about. When new technology comes about, and as that new technology gets adopted more and more, right, lots of trends get affected. Value perception changes, user mental models, skills, everything evolve over time. Of all of these trends, we have to be able to pick and choose which ones are important to care about now versus later. The second takeaway is to learn to break down complex problems. As they say, to move a mountain, you have to chip away at it slowly. A lot of the long-term AI technology evolution problems are such big rocks to be moved. You have to be able to slice them. Lastly, you have to lean into experimentation, truly lean into experimentation. Have a good hypothesis, craft a good experiment to prove or disprove that hypothesis. Learn from the results and improve. Whether it is for making strides in user experience of AI or technology evolution, fail fast, succeed faster. Okay, so we talked about why and how designers can influence AI systems. Let's talk about what to show towards that tangible impact, how to plan towards it. Here's a quick distilled cheat sheet of impact, pretty much based on what we've been talking about so far. Start with the why, understand the what, define the how, and plan for what ifs. The why really will tell you what to do if you get to a point where you have to start making difficult decisions, if you have to get to a point where you have to start pivoting. What direction do you pivot in? When do you pivot? When do you realize that you're not going in the right direction? That's what the why will guide you towards. The what really tells you a notion of how big an effort you're really taking on, right? Is this about a few months worth of solution? Is this a, like an year's worth of work? What are you really talking about? What is that journey that has to come together for the user? Where does success lie? When can you say that here's the first milestone where we can say we've achieved and delivered some value across that holistic composite experience? The how is about how you can align a cross-disciplinary team on a sequence of actions that needs to come together to deliver that value. And the what if, like we were talking about earlier, is about how you can prepare for some of those surprises, the curveballs.